Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's all right. Good morning. Sorry if you're going to say good morning. It is a special day, as every Jackie Robinson Day is indeed a special day, but the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson's breaking of Major League Baseball's color barrier, or as I say on our Sirius XM original podcast called Black Diamonds, that Jackie Robinson was the first man to walk on the moon. And his first step as a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers carried the exact same kind of euphoria that we saw when Neil Armstrong did indeed land on the moon. At least it did for Black America. Now, mainstream America was a little bit surprised by how all of this ultimately transpired. But what we also saw was through his tremendous courage, how he built a legion of fans, both black, white, brown, and others, who understood the magnitude of that moment and who understood the significance of the tremendous courage that this man displayed. And I've oftentimes said, if you don't believe that one person can invoke change, you need to look no further than the great Jackie Roosevelt Robinson. And for all of us at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, this day always takes on a deeper meaning, because while Major League Baseball and all who are involved in our game, they've done a tremendous job of helping us understand just how significant that day was when he did step out on the field as a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers. What has not happened enough, in our opinion, is relating back that this starts right here in Kansas City. That it was our city and the Negro Leagues that gave America arguably its greatest hero in Jackie Robinson. His career began here in Kansas City in 1945. Matter of fact, May 6, 1945, he debuts here for his home opener with the Kansas City Monarchs. He was here for all of about 5 months, and having had the opportunity to know several of his teammates, including the great Jim Lefty Lamar, and my dear friend, the late great Connie Johnson, who pitched in the major leagues as well. Both were pitching for the Kansas City Monarchs, but Connie Johnson also pitched for the Chicago White Sox and later the Baltimore Orioles. And what I found even more interesting is the fact that when Jackie came here, there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare in and around Jackie. As they would say, he was just a ball player trying to make the Monarchs team. And 5 months later, Jackie was gone. And little did J.L. Wilkinson, who owned the Monarchs, know that he had signed a man that was ultimately going to put him out of business. But that is the cost of progress. But his connection to Kansas City is deep and it is meaningful, because had it not been for the Negro Leagues, we don't get Jackie Robinson. Now, I think we can all surmise that at some point in time, Major League Baseball would have eventually integrated. But where were they going to get those players from? And who would that person have been? And there is no doubt, and we make this case here at the museum, that Jackie Robinson's breaking of the color barrier wasn't just a part of the civil rights movement, it was the beginning of the civil rights movement in this country. And so you cannot tell the story of Major League Baseball's integration, or you should not tell the story of Major League Baseball's integration without including the great city of Kansas City and the Negro Leagues. And so today we are excited to unveil a historical marker that was at the birthplace of Jackie Robinson, where he was born in Cairo, Georgia. Now, I know it's spelled Cairo, but we Georgians get a little upset if you call it Cairo, Georgia. It was Cairo, Georgia, and the home of Cairo syrup. which I actually don't really like, but that's okay, that's a whole other story. This historical marker had been there at his birthplace. And sadly, a little over a year ago, it was defaced when someone decided to fire gunfire into the historical marker, causing damage that could not be repaired. Major League Baseball ultimately stepped in and replaced the marker. And thanks to our friends at the Georgia Historical Society, Dr. Ray Doswell went down to Cairo to represent the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And thanks to our friends over at the Georgia Historical Society, who asked if we would like to have a defaced marker, and it didn't take us very long to say yes. Because it was important for this to come up. Because it is a great example of the enduring legacy of Jackie Robinson, but also makes it very evident that we still have great work to do as we continue to lay the foundation for why diversity, equity, and inclusion are so vitally important as tools to help bridge us toward tolerance and respect. And really, that is what this museum is all about. And these discussions are never easy, but I can't think of a better place for them to emanate than the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And so we are tremendously humbled by this relationship with the Georgia Historical Society. It makes me proud as a native Georgian to now have this piece on permanent display here at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. So Dr. Doswell, if you would, we will unveil this wonderful piece that we think is a very important addition to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And so on it, you can see the areas that the gunfire damaged, and maybe it was fate. Because as I've often said, out of darkness does come light. And we are taking something that perhaps had hateful intention and turning it into an opportunity to teach. And turning it into an opportunity for our young people who come into this museum to understand. And that's a beautiful thing. And again, it speaks to what this museum is all about. This is the basis and the foundation for what Buck O'Neill wanted to do when we built the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum way back in 1990, a little one-room office. And we are, as much as we are about preserving the history of this great story of the Negro Leagues, we are just as much an educational resource. And our role in that space of diversity and equity and inclusion is very evident when you walk through this museum. The Negro Leagues didn't care what color you were, and they didn't care what gender you were. Can you play? Do you have something to offer? That is the spirit of Jackie Robinson. And so while we unveil this historic marker to become a permanent piece here at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum is also making some additional contributions on this milestone historic occasion. We built and launched a brand new traveling exhibition called Barrier Breakers. It debuts today in Los Angeles with the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, in the spirit of the Brooklyn Dodgers. And the Barrier Breaker exhibit chronicles all of the players who broke their respective Major League teams' color barriers. So we've done an amazing job of remembering Jackie Robinson. But as much as Jackie Robinson was our Neil Armstrong, Larry Doty, you could say, was our Buzz Aldrin. Yeah, Buzz landed on the moon, and very few folks remember Buzz Aldrin. Larry Doty would be the second. He would integrate the the American League with the Cleveland Indians just weeks after Jackie takes the field with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and very few folks remember Larry Doby and the courage that he too displayed. But even further, there were 5 guys who would go up in 1947. Jackie Robinson, Larry Doby, Hank Thompson, Willard Brown, and Dan Bankhead. 3 of those legendary players were former Kansas City Moms. So again, it speaks to that great connection that our story has, and those players deserve to be remembered as well. So we are thrilled to have launched this brand new traveling exhibition and a brand new companion website called Barrier Breakers. And to have the dimension of the website was really important as well, because this is an opportunity, particularly for young people, to connect to this story in utilizing a means or medium that they're comfortable in doing so. So you can go to NLBM.com and see the new Barrier Breaker website, the new traveling exhibition debuts in LA today. It will be in Los Angeles through the All-Star game, and then we will take it on an extended tour of the U.S. and maybe even Canada at some point in time, because Jackie's roots also extend to Canada, because it was in Montreal where he was playing in AAA baseball and eventually pulled from the Montreal Royals to take that monumental step on the field as a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers. So again, we are excited not only to welcome this historical marker home, but also the launch of our Barrier Breaker traveling exhibition. It is number 7 of our national traveling exhibitions. And I think that is really important because it speaks to, again, the forward thinking of this museum. We're one of a few museums that actually have been building its own traveling exhibitions. And that is because we didn't think anybody else could tell the story better than we do. And it was important for us to make sure we shape these stories the way they're supposed to be told, so that hopefully it will impact as many people as possible. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us this morning. It is an exciting day in baseball, as all who is 30 Major League teams will be wearing number 42. I'm excited that our Kansas City Royals are at home, and it also reminds me to remind you that the first 10,000 people at the gate tonight will get a very special Jackie Robinson sweatshirt. And so make sure you make your way out to the gate and root on our Kansas City Royals on Jackie Robinson Day. But again, at this point in time, I will answer any questions, take any questions. Dr. Glasgow can also be available for any questions that you all might have relative to the historical marker or the brand new traveling exhibition. Anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you talk about the journey that this took from, I'm going to mispronounce it,
Cairo,
Kansas City?
Yeah, well, it was pretty special. I mean, because as I mentioned, Dr. Doswell represented the museum there in Cairo. And I'm not sure when the Georgia Historical Society initiated the idea of it possibly coming home.
Mid last fall.
Yeah, so that opportunity was kind of fortuitous, as I mentioned, in its own way, even though the reason we are getting it obviously is disappointing that it happened. But because it happened, it created this unique opportunity. And so that journey, it arrived here in Kansas City a couple of weeks ago, and we were able to get it in a position that we'll now be able to display it here at the museum. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't have a question. I just want you to come to Portland, Oregon.
We would be happy. We would, and I love Portland, so we would be happy to come to Portland, Oregon, and welcome to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Yeah, no, we look forward to getting Barrier Breaker out to as many cities over the next several years as we possibly can. And I would be remiss to not thank my friends over at Bank of America who are underwriting the Los Angeles stop, Major League Baseball's Players Association, and of course here at home, the Ewan Marion Kaufman Foundation for their generous support that allowed us to build not only the traveling exhibition, but the companion website that goes along with it. Any other questions?
Where in the museum will it be placed?
You know, Dr. Boswell, who is our curator here, is tasked with trying to figure out where we will find a permanent place for this. And so, honestly, I'm not sure it's going to be here temporarily until we can identify another spot in the museum. You know, we're having some growing pains now. We're running out of space. So I guess that means we need to build a new museum. What do you think? Any other questions?
Bob, last one. I could Google this, but I haven't. Did Jackie Robinson play at Cairo in high school? Or
No, he left Georgia. His mother literally, he was a baby.
Okay.
And they made a quick exodus out of Cairo to Pasadena, is where he really grew up. But Cairo is his birthplace.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is his birthplace. And they left Cairo because of some of the social conditions that they were facing, and left to go to Pasadena, where he became an outstanding athlete. And his story is just so interesting, and the look at integration of our sport is extremely interesting. Jackie just seemingly was in the right place at the right time. And it just led to this monumental moment. I once asked his daughter, Sharon, I said, do you think your father really knew what he was about to take on? Because I find it so difficult that anyone would willingly embrace knowing everything that he was about to go through. And it wasn't just the racial strife that he would have to endure. Please keep in mind that he was carrying some 21 million black folks on his back when he walked out across those lines, because if he fails, an entire race of people would have failed. That's an enormous amount of pressure for any one man to have to bear, and how he handled himself with such grace, class, and dignity, and still played the game at such an exceptional level is almost incomprehensible. But the other pioneers who followed him, they stepped into his enormous shoes, and they too kind of carried that movement forward. But here at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, it is important that we remember the folks who built that bridge that allowed Jackie and these other pioneers that we're talking about in this Barrier Breaker exhibit to cross over that bridge, both black and brown. So today we not only remember Jackie, but we celebrate Larry Doty and Hank Thompson and Willie Brown and Dan Bankhead, Monty Irvin and Satchel Paige, and all those others who finally got the opportunity to move into Major League Baseball. But this is where the roots began, and it's important that people understand just how significant the Negro Leagues were, and quite frankly, the Negro Leagues paid a dear cost, because there's no question that that migration into Major League Baseball is what ultimately put the Negro Leagues out of business. Well, guys, I want to thank all of you for being here today, and both Dr. Boswell and myself can be available for any one-on-ones that you guys may want to do. So again, for those who came in to be here and to experience the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, thank you all so much. We appreciate it. and she's going to